I know today what I wanted to speak about today was connection to spirit, the connection to the vibration of spirit, and kind of what the view on the other side was, through the view of the other side through mediumship, through a connection to mediumship. So if we allow ourselves to understand how mediumship works, and I'm going to go through my life a little bit of how it's worked for me, and maybe something that I've gone through, something that has happened in my life, will actually be able to help you. When I was young, I would see spirit all in my room. They would just kind of gather in the corners, gather around the room, gather around the bed, and I wouldn't really be able to speak to them. What I would do is I would be able to hear them in my head. Their mouths were moving, but there was no voice coming out of their mouth. But I knew exactly what they wanted from me. I knew exactly what they were trying to say to me. That happened for at least a couple of years. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, I would have them appear in a room, and I would know exactly what they would want me to hear. And then, it was around 6 years old, is when I died. And I died for, I think, about 15 to 20 minutes. I had a really bad asthma attack. I stopped breathing, and I literally died. But during that time, I've met my guy Jeff, the guide that I have in my life. I met him, and we walked with each other. We walked with each other on the other side. So we kind of walked, and he explained to me what my life calling was, different things in my life, what I should be doing. And then I visited with some members of the family, especially an uncle. And when I came back from the spirit world, I told my grandmother that I spoke to my uncle. She said, my uncle hasn't passed, he's here. But not soon after that, she had got a phone call that said that the uncle had passed, but he had passed right before I had that I had literally died and went to the spirit world. So my uncle was there. And even though me, I knew he was there. But the spirit world is this connection of levels, of vibration, of dimensions and levels on the other side. Even though we all enter in a vibration with this, we all enter in a vibration with this, it doesn't mean that we all go to different vibrations. We could stay there, but we all enter at a level, a vibrational level. And then we constitute our movement to the other side, what is supposed to happen in our lives, what's supposed to happen, what's supposed to go on in our lives, and then we move on to maybe another dimension, another place of existence. Maybe we end up coming back here and redoing another lifetime. But we see our life in front of us. So when I was sitting there, I didn't get a life review. I was only 5 years old, going on 6. So I really didn't get a life review because I hadn't had that much life to actually have some kind of life review of my death. But I did visit with spirit guides, people on the other side. And I always remember the first person I saw on the other side, which is a guide, which was very strange to me, was 2 individuals. One was named TR, one was MER. And they were all dressed in white, and all kind of just standing there in the side of a mountain, talking to me. And it was like they were part of the mountain, but they were speaking to me from that. And I always remember those 2 names, which I thought was really strange. It was MER and TR. And they were speaking to me from this mountain face when I was sitting there speaking to them. So they were talking about mediumship, connection to the higher vibrations, connecting to this. And when I teach mediumship, when I teach it, I really want people to understand you have to raise your vibration. You have to raise it. You have to get to that level. You got to get to that vibration. It's like you get to the stream, but you have to get in the stream. You can't sit on the bank. You can't try to swim to the other side. You kind of get in the stream and you float in the stream. It's like a floating method, a vibration of allowing that energy just to manifest itself around you. So it's raising the vibration, raising it, whether through mediumship, trying to see the other side from meditation or going into some kind of mantras or do whatever works for you. It's getting in that mode, that vibration of spirit, that vibration of the connection to spirit within your auric field. So what you're doing is you're trying to find that vibration, that connection to the spirit set of life. But not long after that, I was probably about 8, 9 years old, I died again. I died again. My grandmother ran me down the street to the doctor's office because I'd stopped breathing again. So during that time, I was in a forest. I didn't see no bright lights. I didn't see all this stuff. I didn't see a tunnel. What I saw was this moss-covered path. And standing on the path was my guide Jeff again. And we walked for a while along this moss-covered pathway with all these trees hanging over top of the path. And we were like walking down a tunnel, but it was more of a green, mossy path with these trees that encircled the path. And we walked down the path, visiting with people along the path. And I thought it was a long time, but my mother and my grandmother told me that I was only gone for 6 minutes. But I thought it wasn't a different amount of time that I was there with them. But Spirit always has a way of working with you, connecting to the higher vibration. Learning how to breathe, learning how to connect to the spirit world, learning how to find that vibration within your life. And that's through that view of the other side. It's through meditation. It's through getting quiet, getting in the stream, going with the flow, allowing Spirit to take you. I think in our lives with mediumship and connecting to mediumship, we want to have too much control over the situation. We want to control it. We want to control how Spirit speaks to us, how Spirit works with us, how Spirit does things with us. But at the beginning, we need to set our rules of how we would like Spirit to communicate, but allow them to communicate with us the best way that's conducive for us. Not how we set it, but what's the best for us. Then once we understand what's best for us, how Spirit's supposed to connect to us, then we can allow ourselves to readjust it, reset it, re-envision it. So that's what people get too much when I teach classes. They want to control the mediumship. They want to control what they see. They want to control the whole vibration. If people get into this work, we need to just allow the vibration to happen. Allow yourself to find that place to meditate. Allow yourself to find that connection to a higher sense of consciousness. That's what you're looking for. We're all looking for that vision, that vibration. It's when you see that connection, when you have that massive meditation, where you come out of meditation, you have to pinch yourself, that you were not walking somewhere, that you had not seen something, that someone was not there physically in your vibration. When you have to pinch yourself to see if it was real. Those are meditations or visions or awakenings that we keep within our lives. I have quite a few of those. When I was ill and I ended up in the Amazon jungle, and this circled teakwood hut, and all these symbols all around. I can still see the symbols. I can still smell the air from inside that building. I still know exactly the 3 men that were sitting there when I entered the building. It was very extremely vivid, and I remember that. And even if I've tried to get back there, but I think I only needed that vibration when I was there. I've had visions of walking in certain places in the spirit world, especially a lot when I deal with Lucerne, when I go with Lucerne and allow Lucerne to take over, and allow me to go learn, to go be instructed from the other side. I get to travel places. I get to see things while I'm out of body. When I'm out of the vibration, I get to have visions and see some things. And some things when I'm out of vision, when I have Lucerne, I almost have to pinch myself. Say, oh my God, that was real. I was here. I was sitting there. I could smell the water the last time I went out of body when the sun came through. I could smell the water. I could smell the salt in the air. I could feel the bench underneath my vibration. I could feel all the vibration around me. So I understood what Spirit wanted me to look at. See, we have to find our passion with mediumship. Whether it's automatic writing, whether it is clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairgust, whatever clara that you are using in your vibration, it's working at that, taking that into the stream with you, working on that, getting yourself capable of working with that, and then moving to something else. When I was young, I was a clairvoyant because I could see spirits just like people were in the room when I was young. People would follow me. I would see groups of people. And my mother used to say, "You're special, Lou. You see groups of people. You see people." I said, "Yeah." And she would teach me how to not really control them, but have them to understand how I work best with them. I could work with them and tell them that doesn't work well for me. I don't like that. And I kind of adjusted the rules that I would set. So what you do is you allow Spirit to move in, to get hold of your vibration. And once they have connection to you, and they start bringing things into your vibration, then you start going, this doesn't work well for me. I don't like how you're doing that. I don't like how that information is being propelled towards me. Could we do it this way? And you could have out-of-body experiences. You could have near-death experiences. Through my life, I'm in my 60s now, I've had like 6 near-death experiences where I've actually died, gone to the spirit side of life. And through those times that I've left my body, I've seen different views. And people say, well, you see the tunnel, you see the spirit world, you see this. I don't see that every time. First time I went over there, I was sitting in a room with my guide. Sitting. Then we walked out of the room into a clearing. And we could see through the mountains. It's not a tunnel, it wasn't that. Next time I left, it was a path with moss on it, with the trees hanging over the path, looking kind of like a tunnel. But there were these beautiful oak trees encircling the path as we walked down this moss-laden path, heading towards this clearing. The third time I passed a spirit, I was sitting on a shore. Sitting on a shore with this crystal blue water lapping across the shore. And my grandmother sitting with me after she had passed. Sitting with me on the bench. Speaking to me. The next time I passed a spirit was more of a like I was sleepwalking. I know I was there and I had all these people with me, but when I came back and they told me I was out for a while, but when I came back I kind of had to pinch myself because I knew that truly was happening, because I was sitting with master teachers, instructors, guides, protectors. When I was in this mediumship here, and I know we're on a channel and it's Christopher Thames, but when I had meditations that were very vivid, very connected, when I was sitting in a large audience of people, they guided me to my chair. I could still smell the robes of these individuals, these ivory-colored robes, as they led me to this chair in this large, like, cavern. And up on the stage, before I even knew who he was Christopher Thames speaking. And after Christopher Thames got through speaking, they came down to my chair and said, "It's your turn to speak." And they brought me up to the platform and I spoke. And I could see Christopher Thames out in the audience. And I knew he was somebody that I needed to understand or see. And a few years later, Christopher Thames appeared in my life. We have to look at how things appear. And And whether it's through meditation, having this very vivid meditations, start setting them. Start setting what you would like to see. What would you like to see from your guides? Your guides have a lot of power. It doesn't mean you have to die 5, 6 times to get to see the spirit world. You can address your guides, have them work with you, have them be part of your vibration, and allow them to show you the spirit world. You don't have to wait to pass the spirit, but take your journey. When I was working a lot of my life for people that were getting ready to pass the spirit, I would touch in with them. I would touch their vibration. And I would see where they were. Where were they traveling? What were they looking at? Because a lot of the patients that I dealt with were kind of in a coma state. They weren't really moving. They weren't opening their eyes. They were just laying there. And I knew that their time was coming close for them to pass to spirit. So I would touch their hand. I would take their hand in mine. And I would go into a trance-like state, and I would take myself out of body. Now, one of the times I was sitting there, this woman was sitting at a table, and it looked like I was in the middle of Paris, sitting at a table. And she saw me. She said, "Come here, dear." And I sat with her. She said, "This is my husband and me used to sit and have coffee. I'm waiting for him to show up. You know, I'm going to leave soon." I said, "Really?" She said, "As soon as he gets here and we have our first cup of coffee, we're going to leave." And sure enough, her husband came up. He shook my hand. He sat down and they started drinking the coffee. And I let loose of her hand after that and came back out of this state. And I had told the family that where she was. And they said, "Oh my God, it's my father. She's with my father. She's with my father." And they asked me to go back in and touch base with her. And I did. And they wanted me to ask her a few questions. And I did. And they said, "Oh my God, that's our mom. You got our mother, you got our father. They're exactly together." And that's all we wanted to understand, that they were together. And as soon as they finished drinking that coffee, she took her last breath on the earth plane and went to spirit. Same thing as with the individual that had to walk. When I was watching him, he was walking down a path, but the path had a lot of holes in it, a lot of potholes in it. And I was trying to walk behind him, and he saw me, and he stopped. And I caught up to him on the path, and I asked him, because I had touched in with him, I had held his hand. I said, "Why all the potholes?" And he said, "Oh, those are things I'm getting rid of. I've asked my guides to allow me to drop things off into the holes, so that when I eventually get to the spirit world, I won't be pulling anything negative with me." And sure enough, every hole he would stop at, drop something into the hole, say a prayer, and move on. And I could see, mostly up the path, I could see that he was getting closer to the end of this path where there's all these holes in the path. And I said, "Well, you're probably going to get ready to go to spirit soon." He said, "Yes, I am. I'm getting ready to go." And sure enough, he got towards the last hole. He looked back at me and said, "Thank you for walking with me. I needed somebody to speak to." And I let go of his hand, came back out, and he took his last breath and went to the spirit world. A lot of these things have happened in my life where I've touched base with people and kind of figure out where they are, where their vibration is, and where their energy field is from the spirit world. And if we allow ourselves to just ask our guides, and some of us are afraid. Some of us are like, "Oh my God, Lou, where are they going to take me? What's going to happen? Are they going to bring me back?" No, they'll bring you back. You have guides, protectors, guides, people that protect you on this earth plane. It isn't a question they're going to leave you somewhere and say, "Oh, there we go." No. What they're going to do in the vibration is they're going to bring you to where you need to be. Your life's supposed to be people's lives are supposed to be very awesome for them. Awesome. But we allow ourselves to get off path, to get fed information in our lives that gets us thrown off base in our lives. We're told in our lives, they'll cut the silver cord. They'll keep you over here. You'll attract negative energy. You'll go through all this stuff. But that's not the case. It's where our energy field is. If you're looking for it, sure, it's there. But if you're not looking for spirit to disrupt your vibration, you're not going to see that. Because your guides will take you by the hand and take you to where you need to be. That's why you don't want to say, oh my God, I want to go see something. No, you tell your guides, take me to what I need to see. I said here before, ask your guides, is there something I need to see, something I need to do, something I need to put in motion? Please show me. Please show me. Please connect to me. Please show me. And if we allow ourselves to do that, or allow ourselves to do that vibration in our lives, you'll have this whole connection of understanding where you are. We live a lot of our lives, a lot of the vibration in our lives, not because we are supposed to see spirit. What happens in our lives is we're afraid to move in that direction. When I was young, I was very afraid of these people. Oh my God. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, there'd be a Native American Indian standing at the foot of my bed with a hatchet. I'd have people sitting at the foot of the bed. Some of them would have injuries to their bodies, and I would just look at them. I'd go, and I'm a 4 or 5-year-old, and I'm looking at all this stuff going around my bed, so I would scream, and my mother would come running in. She says, what's wrong? And I would tell her who was around the room, and she would tell us, you have to control them now. You have to control them. They do not control you. You control them. And I learned from a very young age that they didn't control my vibration. I controlled what was going on. So you have to allow your guides to work with you, help you. One of the really coolest times I was in a vibration was I had a young woman, and I assume she was 22. She wasn't out of her 20s, and she had suffered a traumatic brain injury, and she wasn't able to speak to her family, wasn't able to connect to family members. And one of the people had heard about me and said, why don't you come and see if you can connect to her so we can talk to her. So I came in, and I sat at the foot of her bed, and I touched base with her. And she was sitting in a cave with one large candle. And I walked up, and she wanted to know who I was. I told her what I was doing there. And she says, I'm not ready to speak to them yet. I said, why are you not ready? They're here. She said, because I'm very ashamed of what I did to cause this accident. So I'm not ready to speak to them yet. I said, okay. Do you want me to tell them one thing? She goes, okay, tell them this. And I told them that, and they said, oh my God, that's her. And I told her, I said, she's not ready to speak to you yet. She's not ready to speak to you yet. And I asked her while I was in there, I said, are you going to come back? Are you going to survive this? And she said, yes. And they said there was some kind of thing going on with her head from the accident. And they didn't know if she was going to survive or not. She said, I will survive it. And I told the parents that. And they were ecstatic that she was going to survive this terrific accident. But after I went back a week or two later, and I touched base with her, and she was willing to talk to her parents at that time. And about 5-6 days later, she woke up. But there are so many things that we hold against ourselves when we go to the spirit side of life. We're afraid to go there, afraid that something might grab us, or we're afraid of things that have happened in our lives, afraid that Spirit's not going to treat us justly if we go to the other side. So we're going to have this retribution from Spirit, from people. And usually I found out that through touching base with people, we all end up at that same level, that same vibration. I almost kind of get like, I know if people watch the movie Thor, and there's a rainbow bridge, this big bridge, and the guy's standing there with a sword at the beginning of the bridge. There's this rainbow bridge that's leading into the city. There's this beautiful long bridge that's leading into the city. That's kind of what I see when I see that movement to the spirit world. There's this very large bridge, large enough for everyone to fit on. And we move ourselves into the city at different points before we enter the city, there's different avenues, different paths to move off onto. We all go through a review of our life, a review of our situations within our lives. And then we realize those review situations of our lives are about life lessons for the group, how we affected the group on our spiritual journey, how we affected our physical being, our spiritual being, how we affected ourselves. Then we move off into the spirit world, wherever we want to go. Now, some of us feel so terrible about our lives that we get stuck somewhere in a room or a town or someplace on the other side that we feel like we don't deserve to be in the spirit world. We deserve to be there. And we must suffer here before we move there. And that's my mediumship. I really want people to know that's not what it is. What it is this journey to the spirit world are decisions. You are the judge, jury, and executioner. You are. Not God, not the devil, not somebody else. You. Because things happen in our lives. Sure, things happen in our lives, and some things happen in people's lives, and situations happen to people that are horrific, that are terrible. But doesn't mean the person gets away with that vibration when they enter the spirit world and all things are forgotten and off they go. They still have to have that review, that connection, that transformation, that place where they go to learn, to get to a higher vibration, where they go and not pay penance, but they go to learn. I had a lady one time, and she would sit there and speak to me. She wasn't in a coma. And I took care of her for quite a while. And she had murdered her 4 children. That's what she had done. And her horrendous vibration in her life was just horrendous. And she knew that she was going to hell because she had killed her children. She had killed them. But I explained to her, I said, you have to look not at the event that has happened. What did you learn from the event? And she kept arguing with me, saying, the event. I said, no, what did you learn from the event? If you learn nothing from the event, then you are bound to repeat the event. So what did you learn from the event? Maybe the whole vibration, the whole connection of this whole vibration within your life was for you to affect the group, or that group energy to affect you. What did you learn? How did it affect you? Did you learn from it? Did you learn from that event? And you have to realize if you don't, then you're bound to repeat and repeat and repeat. And you repeat that on the other side. In a little town, little place on the other side, you repeat the event and repeat the event. And you relive and you relive and you relive the event until you eventually figure out what you needed to learn from that event. So, when she was getting ready to go, and she said, oh, Lewis, it's getting awful hot. And I actually touched her bed, and her bed was getting hot. It was. But I just said, no, don't look in that direction. Look somewhere else. And when she did, she saw her sister coming up to her with her 3 children. There were 3 children that this sister had with her. And she saw her coming. And she bursted into tears on the spirit world, and where I found her, hugging her children, crying. But when we do that, when we have these things happen in our lives, we have ministering angels, guides, master teachers, instructors, family members, people to help us, to get us past a situation within our lives. And I always tell people, stop looking down on how bad something is. Look up and see what you need to do to correct the situation. Not how bad it is. It's going to get bad anyway. That's what mediumship is all. I tell people that's what mediumship's all about. When we start telling people, your life's bad stuff's happening, all you have to think about is the bad stuff. You don't think about anything good, anything bad, anything. You're just going to concentrate on that. Same thing with our lives. If we stay somewhere in our lives that's continually bad, it's bad energy, bad vibration, bad situation, bad karma, bad stuff. It's happening around me, where I am. Then you change where you're at. You change directions. You change vibrations. Usually things happen in our lives mostly to get our attention, to have us to change directions. The light changes in our life, not to have us stop there and dwell there at that part of the vibration, but to change directions, to change somewhere else. So you have to, with the spirit world, with mediumship, it is this connection to the different realms in the spirit world. You can go see any spirit on the other side. Don't tell anybody, don't say anybody. You want to go on the other side and visit Lucerne. Lucerne will speak to you. Parts of the group over there, Tobias, Deidre, these different guys over there, they'll speak to you. Even though they're with Lucerne, they'll still speak to you. Because I don't have this comment little thing on these guys going, they're mine and they're not yours. I don't know. You can talk to Jeff too. He's here. He'll talk to you. He'll come talk to you. So you don't have a hold on these guys. These guys travel through the spirit world. They're helping, they're encouraging me. But they're also helping and encouraging others. So call on guides. Call on these people to work with you. Call on your highest and best in your vibration. Allow them to show you what you need to see in the spirit world, not what I need to tell you. Because all these visions, all these situations I've had in my life have not been just to get me to see the spirit world, but to help me understand me. And that's what mediumship's all about. It's not me telling you all about your life, but you finding a way to tell yourself and write your own book about your own life. It's not me to tell you where your life is. Your life is supposed to be awesome. I'm always here to help and encourage and try to bless you on the path. But I'm not here to kindly direct. I have individuals that would love me to just be in their life every week, be with them every single week, telling them exactly what to do. But it's not what I'm here to do. It's not what I'm here to do. I'm just give you points to the path, give you an idea of where the path should lead you. But you personally, subconsciously or consciously make that decision of where you're personally going to go. But the spirit world has all these endeavors in it. One of the last times I passed a spirit, I was sitting, but the bridge that I was on, the bridge that I was standing on was clear. And I was standing in midair with my father. And from the viewpoint that I had in my view was all these different places off. They weren't like planets, but they were like cities off in the distance. Hundreds and thousands of cities off in the distance. And I heard my father look at me and goes, and my father was very religious. He thought heaven. But he said, this is heaven. The cities are here for the individuals to appear into. And I learned from that moment when I think I was 820, something in that vibration. I learned in that moment that we pick our group of people. You might have 800 people that follow you through lifetimes. They are your village. I might have 1,000. Somebody else here listening today might have 1,200. You might have 100,000 people that are part of your village. And these are individuals that appear in your life through lifetimes. And you appear in their lives through lifetimes. Not to get you to where you need to be, but also to move the group consciousness to where it needs to, move the group consciousness to where it needs to be. A lot of the times our lives are life lessons to get us to where we need to be, but a lot of times our lives are to move the group consciousness to where they need to be. The group consciousness. That is our group. So I like to call it my peeps. It's my group. They're to get them to where they need to be. So if we allow ourselves to really understand that, then we know that these guides, these protectors, these visions that we see in our lives are probably people that we say, oh, I don't know that person. What are they from a past life, an incarnation, a person that you knew quite extensively in a past life that is still there around you, still moving in your vibration, still helping you, still encouraging you on your journey. So these are people that follow you. And when you're on the other side, there are people from your group, from your city, that come here. Or maybe could be in different dimensions doing other work. And you are there to help them, to encourage them as needed. So as I've always believed, mediumship is this true connection to my higher self, allowing my higher self to communicate with the different realms of the spirit world, but also to the realm that I come from, where I personally come from, and where you come from. So mediumship is that connection, and you'll know when you have it. It's like floating. When I do mediumship and I'm in the mode of doing readings or connecting to someone, I get into a flow, a movement. And it's like my eyes go a little off sync. I don't really see the person in front of me I'm reading, and I just start talking, and it just flows. It's just the energy flows, the vibration flows. Then I know I am in that mode. I'm in that connection to the spirit world. A lot of the times when we do mediumship, I'm not connecting to my city, my village. I have arrived at the front door of your village, ringing the front doorbell, trying to get somebody's attention in the village, that I'm speaking to one of their people that has come to this earth plane. And that if anybody in the village would like to speak to them, could they please come and show up? We're just like Avon. I'm teasing, I'm laughing on that vibration. But we're ringing the doorbells in different villages, different places on the other side, trying to get somebody in the inside to answer us so that they could speak to the person that we're trying to communicate with. We're just trying to get somebody to answer. And it's through that vibration, that persistence in mediumship, that persistence that you propel in your mediumship to get you to where you need to be. It's that vibration, when I explain here on mediumship, it's making that appointment with Spirit, finding that place to sit with Spirit, making that appointment, setting the rules with your Spirit guides, telling your guides when you want to turn it on, when you want to turn it off, setting the criteria of what you want to experience with your mediumship, how far you want to take it, how slow you want to take it. You set the course. You set the vibration. You want to see parts of the spirit world? When you sit on the side of your bed before you go to sleep, say, you know, I'd really like to see the spirit world. I'd really like to get a view of the spirit world. Could you show it to me? Then go to sleep. It might take you a week, maybe 2 weeks. You might even have a very vivid dream that night. But you have set your dream. You've told your guides, point blank, I'd like to have a dream about that. I'd like to dream about that situation. Allow them to move something, and then you'll have a very vivid dream. You go, oh my God. It doesn't mean that everybody's view of the spirit world is the same. My view of the spirit world is of different cities, different dimensions, different places of existence that stretches out through eternity. My city is out there. I've seen it. I've sat outside my city. I've had TR tell me that I couldn't go in the city. It wasn't my time to venture into the city yet. I had not passed the spirit. I was just in the process of an in-between moment. I would be there when the time is right, but I could not venture into the city at this point. And I've spent a couple times up there speaking to TR, sitting outside my city, talking to him, and watching people go in and out of the city. Watching people go in and out of it. I can tell you what the bricks look like on front of it, what the front gates of the city look like. I have a pretty good view of what the city looks like, because I've been there a couple of times. I know what it looks like. So when my time comes, I'll know where I'll be. I'll be standing on that walkway, walking into that city, and being greeted by different people, different vibrations from inside that city. I have a strong belief in this world that this is not the only lifetime I have ever lived. Even though this lifetime might be a little crazy, a little nuts, things might not be going exactly the way they should be going, but that doesn't contradict all the other lifetimes. Things were awesome. Things were extraordinary. Years ago, when I still had a lot of stuff going on with my health, I got involved with Ramtha. And I heard J.C. Knight, when she was trancing Ramtha, looked at the screen, I could feel Ramtha's energy look at me and go, at some point, in some lifetime, in some incarnation, possibly maybe 1,000 years ago, you were perfectly healthy. You had enough money to last you the rest of your life. You had relationships that were awesome. They were there. You, in this lifetime, can adjust the energy within your being to get in tune with that lifetime and bring that same energy of perfect health, of prosperity, of connection to a higher source into this lifetime. And when I did that, I got pretty healthy, because I envisioned myself healthy, not really in this lifetime, but bringing health from a past lifetime. I asked my guys to show me what lifetime that I needed to focus on, and they did. And I did. So the question here is, we've been as good as we've been bad in lifetimes. But you're a conglomerate of all these lifetimes. What if the terrible thing that happens to somebody wasn't really meant for the individual committing the act, the vibration of the act, but for all the things that will come after that? Good inclination of that is right now is through the Senate trial, all the stuff we got going on now from the Capitol riot. People died in the riot. People were killed. People were injured. People died. Was that to affect the individual who did it? Or was it to affect the earth plane or the spiritual existence, to change the energy field, to move it in a different direction than where it was heading? We have to allow ourselves to find our balance, our connection to a higher self, ours. And when I teach mediumship, I want you to find yours. Maybe there's a past life that you were awesome in, probably quite a few of them, that you had an awesome, extremely powerful life. If it's not working in this lifetime, ask your guide to show you another one, so you can pull energy from that lifetime. I can sense that our lives are full of little cubby holes in our life where we have stored stuff, supplies. If you believe in a past life, an incarnation in your life, you believe in that, then you have to kind of believe that before you entered this earth plane, you stored some stuff away, just in case things didn't work out well. You stored it away. What did you store? What did you put away? That's what you have to ask yourself. What did you store away in those little cubby holes, little crevices of your existence? What did you store? That's what you ask your guides to show you. See, because when we're standing on the other side, in the spirit world, getting ourselves ready to come back here, we had an extremely powerful view of what our life was going to be. Powerful. We had the roadmap. I mean, you had all the directions and things that we were going to do. And before we entered back, we filled up our little knapsack. Got all the things that we're going to need for supplies. We handpicked all our guides. And down we came. Once we got here, we forgot what we had saw, but we had put everything away for ourselves. We did that. And we had to realize that everything was put away for a reason. There's a reason why Spirit put it, why we put it there. That's why you asked your guys, is there something I'm missing? Something I should be doing? Something I should be putting in motion? Could you please show me? And we get ourselves in bind because we don't really pay attention, but if we just watch what appears in your life. I've had people attract money because they sell butterflies, and all of a sudden somebody in front of them had a butterfly on their shirt, and they asked them to buy a ticket, and they bought a ticket, and they won. I've had money fall out of the sky with people. The Spirit is definitely alive and well on the other side. It's how we connect to them, how we propel our voices to them. You don't think that we left our highest master guide, our gatekeeper, our guardian angel, or whatever you want to call them? You don't think we left them with the key? Just in case something happened, they could go into our storerooms and collect what we need for our well-being? You don't think that's happening? When you go on vacation and you're going to be gone for an extended amount of time, don't you leave a key for somebody in case there's an emergency? Something happens that someone needs to get into your place, that they need to take care of something while you're not in town? If you're out of town, which you are now, you're out of your village, you're here. The village knows where your home is. Your home is still there. You left that spirit world. You left it when you came here, and they put a candle in the window. That tells the rest of the people in the village that you have left for a while, for them to look after the residents, because you'll be back, but for it to be watched over. I mean, watched over that residence is watching over you. And if you need something, there's somebody in the village that's got a key to your house. They know exactly what to pull into your house, pull into your vibration. We in this lifetime need to allow people that have negative energy, vibrations in their life, drama, situations in their life, not to disturb us from our journey. Allow them to be on their own journey with their own pod, their own vibration, not to pull us into that pod. I remember when I was working, I used to listen to people just talk about people, just talk about them, and I'd just walk away. And they would tell me, Lois, you're not friendly. You're not friendly to us. I wasn't going to stand there and listen to them downgrade people and say these horrific things about them. Why would I sit there and listen to that? That was not the energy that I wanted to propel into my life. Same thing with the spirit world. You're not going to go to the spirit world and walk around the spirit world and hear people downgrade you, talk about you. You're not going to stay there. You're not going to be in that position. You're going to go someplace where people are uplifting, embellishing, helping, encouraging. That's where you're going to be. But you have to allow yourself to find that passion within your life, with your mediumship. I could teach you mediumship. Like next week I'll teach you a little bit about paper and ropes and different things. And since I film it, you'll be able to see it on the film. On YouTube, once I'm all done, if you have a camera, you'll be able to see me do it here in my office. But understanding how to do different forms of mediumship help, because that's what I do. I teach you different forms of mediumship, Not to just say, oh my God, this is your tool, you should use this. No, I give you that tool just because it could be a part of the bigger puzzle for you. It could be something that no, maybe you're from my village. Maybe you live down the street. Maybe you live down the street from me. And my guides know you. They know your house. They know you need something. So they're going to go find somebody in town that's got the key to your house, so they can go in and help get something for you that you absolutely need. And we cross paths with people in our lives. You're not going to give your key to your house in the village to somebody that you don't like or you don't trust. You won't. You'll give it to people that you trust, with your belongings, with your house. So, having people in your life that you embellish, that you help, that you encourage, that they will help and encourage you also. But mediumship is this journey. And mediumship on the other side is working at it. Sure, when I was young, I didn't see them speaking. I didn't see them. I could hear them in my head. I could see their mouth moving, but I couldn't hear the actual speaking. But it was almost a year after that I could hear them speaking. Direct voice in the room, direct voice. I could hear them. It wasn't in my head anymore. It was direct voice. They were talking in the room. They were talking. Then the energy got stronger with the apparitions, the people that appeared in the room. At some point, they were like a little fuzzy. I couldn't make them out, but they weren't truly perfect view. But after a while, they started to become more into focus. Then I had to start directing them, not to wake me up in the middle of the night, not to slap me on the back of the head. I used to have a red-haired guy named Randy. He used to run up behind me and slap me in the back of the head. And it would hurt spiritually, and I would have to tell him, I said, stop that, don't like it. He goes, oh, I just want to get your attention. I said, I can feel that on this side. It doesn't feel good. Stop it. Now when he comes, I get like a little poke in my arm, like he's poking me. But I know it's Randy. I know he's here. He doesn't slap me anymore. I told him not to. But during this whole vision of where you are, where you stop and you touch base with people, you might not get the opportunity to hold somebody's hand just as they're passing the spirit. You might. And feel the energy, the vibration of the spirit world. When somebody's getting ready to call to the spirit world, the energy is quite strong, quite elaborate around the individual. Spirit has placed this cone around an individual. Say, pull them to the spirit side of life. So you can feel it. You can feel the energy in the room. And you know when somebody passes, if you've ever been in a room where somebody passes, you know that they have left the building. You know they've left. The total energy in the room has changed. They are no longer in presence. So when you're speaking to your guides, talking to them, conversing with you, working with your guides, allow them to find you. You don't have to go find your guides. They're from your village. They know where you're at. You've left our itinerary on the other side. We've left our itinerary on the other side, and when we've left it on the other side, people on the other side are looking at it. And I want to hope that when you work on your mediumship, you work on this connection to your mediumship, allow yourself to find that balance. Step into the water. Do this little floating backstroke thing. Kind of just sit in the water for a while and let spirit kind of move you in the direction your mediumship's supposed to take you. But remember, your itinerary, your journey, everything you thought you needed on this spirit side of life, and all the tools you need have been stored there, have been placed in that house, that abode on the other side. And you left keys to individuals on the other side to get that stuff and bring it to you. And we have to just believe that you deserve it. You deserve it. You really deserve it. I need this. I deserve this. And if it's not a life lesson for you, not a life lesson, a life encouragement for you, or it'll take you off a life lesson that you chose to help somebody else, you'll get exactly what you're looking for. It'll still be there in some way, some fashion. But find your passion with your mediumship. So all I explain to people, find your passion. Because the spirit world and the world of spirit on the other side, they're wanting to communicate with us. They're wanting to speak to us. They're wanting to try to help us wherever they can. And maybe that next person, that next vision, that next vibration you see is that person you left in charge of your house on the other side with the key, wanting to know if you need them to go in and check on a few things in the house. That's what you're working towards. Having that first name vibration, that first connection to whoever's got that connection to you from that past life or the place where you call your home. Because this is not our home. This is just, we might have, some of us might have picked a very bad vacation in our lives, but this is definitely not our home. This is only the place where we have gone for a while before we return to our home. So I hope that helped some of you. I hope it helped and encouraged you. But treat your mediumship with what you feel like you need to in your life. And you might find out that their guides are just patiently waiting for you to speak to them. Patiently waiting to speak to you or unlock the house on the other side to allow you to see what you need in this lifetime to help you finish the journey here on this earth plane. And I hope you enjoyed that. Next week, I think we're doing the lecture on paper and tools, different types of tools for mediumship. So we'll be doing that next week. And this will all be focused on, this will all be put on YouTube. So hopefully, if you didn't see everything, didn't see me, you can tune in to YouTube. I'll have it on today or tomorrow, and you can see the film on YouTube. Okay? And I want to thank you for tuning in today.